You've earned it. The captain's chair.
Well, welcome back to the Mom Life Podcast. We're here with another exciting episode for you guys today, and I think this is going to be something that literally moms for sure and dads too are going to relate to what we're going to talk about, and that is about the reasons why our routines, especially when it comes to taking care of ourselves, get interrupted and potentially lead us down a path that puts us on the back burner and puts us on hold for months, years at a time, just because we don't have a solid plan in place to deal with them when such stress arises. And honestly, when we sat down to come up with this list, we could put 100 things on here, but we tried to narrow it down to kind of the top things that we're seeing with the clients that we work with when we notice that things start to go in the wrong direction and what's causing that stress and why their routine is getting interrupted and their consistency diminishes, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. So these are all things that take people down a path of not good. And path of disappearing, really. Mm-hmm. These are what we've come up with. Members that we see, they disappear, and these are the reasons why they disappear and don't make it back for an extended period of time.
Yeah, and probably all three of us have personally either dealt with every single one of these or at least most of them, right? So we're coming at this from experience with not only we've felt it, but we know that other people feel it too. So it's important to address it because hopefully today you can take away something that is going to help you notice this and become aware of it, really, because that's really what we're trying to do is we're trying to bring awareness to it so that when it happens, you can recognize it quicker and it doesn't take you down for such a long time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Learn to pivot.
Pivot.
Yeah, I think that's really the biggest thing. I know personally, I've fallen into that trap where you're headed down a path and you don't even realize it's happening. So that's one of the things I've really tried to get better at is recognizing when you're on that spiral and getting to it before it goes too far.
So where do we want to start? Start at the top of the list, middle of the list?
We'll start at the top of the list. That way we know what order we're in.
Oh, okay. Did we decide this is the number one?
I don't know.
Are they in any particular order?
Okay. I don't think.
No particular order. Just things that we know that are going to get in the way of what you are trying to do or wanting to do for yourself. These definitely these are roadblocks that we've identified.
So roadblock number 1. Personal injuries. And this is one we've all seen a bunch of times. And when somebody develops an injury of really any kind and it disrupts what they're able to do in the gym, I think the frustration gets high knowing like I used to be able to do this or everybody else is doing this and then now I have to kind of be on the sidelines a little bit and I'm doing this other stuff that's not what I want to do.
Yeah, if you have to take a step back or get a modification, it all of a sudden feels like you have failed, and you'll start going through that story in your head about, I guess I should take some time off until this fully heals or this fully passes because I'm not getting what I want out of this.
Yeah, I'm not getting the full benefit.
Yeah, you just tell yourself that, and then you convince yourself that it would be better to maybe do nothing potentially versus saying, okay, I can't do what I want exactly, but asking yourself instead of saying, I need to quit, ask yourself, what can I do? And being able to be okay with that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I know we're totally happy to modify anything anybody's dealing with, and if we've got people right now who have a bad leg or have 2 bad legs and maybe they're seated or they're doing all arms, we'll work around it, but we're staying in that routine. We're, still keeping with getting to the gym, and they like being with their people in their group and part of the community.
Yeah, and that's the most important part of like dealing with an injury is keeping the routine. Mm-hmm. Like if anybody here that gets injured, something happens or whatever, the best thing I try to explain is until you get better or whatever, the most important thing isn't necessarily about how hard your workout is or what the workout itself is. It's that you show up for yourself and continue to show up for yourself no matter what the injury is, or even if the workout is only 50% of what you were doing. I promise that 50% is going to be better than the 0% you're going to do at home.
For sure.
Let's be real. The reason majority of people are here is because they know they're never going to do this at home. So the idea that they're just going to, that was the reason they came here in the first place, or part of the reason they came here in the first place, to say, well, now that I'm injured, I'll just do some stuff at home, is very unrealistic. And it's boring. Nobody does well at home. 1%.
Well, everybody that I talk to that said they always make comments. Oh, I have a full gym at home. Like that's kind of a normal thing. And I'll be like, oh, and they're like, yeah, but I don't use it, and I don't even know what to do. So can you just, and again, that's what we're here for, and that's the best part about like coming to somewhere like Pulse is that if you do have an injury, we're going to help you make the modifications. You're not going to have to come up with them, or in conjunction with any of your, directives from, say a doctor or physical therapy. Like that's the good part about having accountability and somewhere that's guiding you versus you just coming up with it on your own.
You just show up.
You just show up and we're going to keep you moving.
Show up and just know that the movement, any amount of movement is going to make you feel good, reduce your stress.
Yes.
And make you feel better, and everything else in your life will probably stay in line, but the dominoes start to fall once the workouts start to go. So personal injury is the number one, or is one of the four, not the number one. Tina, what's number two?
Number two is an unfortunate tragedy in your family. Somebody that you care about deeply has been affected by something, and it causes you to step back from your own personal routine, from your own personal goals. And I'm not saying that if you need to care for somebody that you should say, hey, sorry, I got the gym, you figure this out. But removing yourself from the equation of caring for yourself and making yourself a priority while you help somebody else is something that we have seen really make people take a major backseat to anything they've been working on, and can potentially halt them for a long amount of time. And the stress that causes is again, the stress is probably the worst part of that, because you're trying to control and manage something that you actually have no control over.
This is probably the one where we see people go down the worst hole, because it's not just the exercise. Like everything goes at one time. The nutrition goes fast. The exercise goes immediately. Everything that they were doing well instantly can disappear because the stress of taking on something, or something happened, and now, again, people go straight to food for comfort, whatever, and we see it happen and stop caring about themselves because they're in this hole. This one's where people really need the gym the most. Is crazy as it seems, but they need to relieve that stress. They need to know it feels good, and knowing that taking care of yourself is going to benefit everybody else around you is the key to try to remember with this one, as tough as that can be.
And this one is super tough to even talk about, because God forbid something happens and the stress just consumes you to the point where you just go into like decision fatigue and you don't want to do anything. And like Jeff said, that might be the time you need that the most, and it's not even about the movement. It's about the stress relief. It's about the community. It's about being with your, for here at Pulse, it's about being here with your group and just knowing like, hey, I'm not alone, and these people are here to support me. And that's exactly where we try to position ourselves when one of our members is going through something that we know is hard or tragic, and there's not much we can do, but we can support them in trying to keep their routine consistent and help guide them that way.
Yeah, and the routine may change a bit. We're talking overall consistency of getting here. It might mean you come at a different time of day. Your normal morning time may not work. It may have to be evening because you've got other responsibilities, but we'll work with you to get, let's get you in here.
Yeah, and it just keeps you from going down this trap of not doing anything for a really long time, because the people that we've seen leave, it's just like, man, I know it happened and it sucks, and to see him watch the struggle from the outside and know that, man, if they could have just kept some consistency, you know, maybe they wouldn't have fallen down this hole for so long.
Yeah, and once again, having the support of a guide, this is where it really comes into play and is really important, because sometimes it is very hard to figure these things out on your own. Having somebody there who can step in from the outside and be there to help you and be there for you and assist you, it really can be a game changer that you don't even realize you need until you're in that position and you're like, wow, I didn't really know how much this meant to me until this person showed up for me and was right there to say, hey, what can I do? How can I help? What makes sense right now? Versus saying, forget it. Just, I'll see you when I see you, so I don't like this one, but it comes up.
It's real.
It comes
it's
up.
a real
and it's
one.
real.
Yep.
So, Josh, what do you got for a third one?
I want to emphasize the second word because I happen to be living this and have been for a while. Kids shit.
He feels this.
Kid shit is real.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we were talking before that we're all kind of at different stages in that life with the kids. Tina's fortunately, on the tail end of it. I have some kids on the tail end and I have some kids just getting started. But I've been in this feels like forever now, and it really is shit. Like, I'm over it. I'm ready to move on, but I've still got to suck it up for a while. And then I look across the table at Jeff, and he is really excited about all this stuff getting going. So talk to me in 10 years.
Yeah, we'll have this talk, and I'll probably use kid shit. I'll still use it now because, I mean, again, unfortunately, I don't even know. I kind of say unfortunately, we see parents totally put their kids 100% in front of them, and it's their downfall when they forget to put themselves anywhere on the calendar and let the kids shit take over.
And it can very easily.
And just to bring that part of this to light, so like last week you made a post about how you traveled out of town to go to a tournament for you.
Yep.
Right? And you mentioned in that post, like, hey, I missed some of my kids' stuff this weekend, and that's okay because I've already realized that this is going to happen. And then this weekend, then you were with your family at an event, right? So you're looking at it from the perspective of, like, you can see both sides of it. Like, if you could very easily take yourself off of the priority list, right? You can see how easy it is.
Yeah,
now, it was maybe 5 years ago, you didn't quite understand it. Like, you were like, what's going on with the parents that I'm working with the moms that I'm working with? Why are they taking themselves and just going to the back burner? And now can you see how easy it is for us to be like...
It's very easy because, I mean, like, even again, 2 weeks ago, a friend asked me to do this, and I went back and I had a little back and forth moment, and I was like, nope, it's going to happen. Deanna, I'm going to be gone this weekend.
And I'm assuming the conversation in your head probably went a little something like this. If I say no now, I'm not going to say yes to myself. Like, it's a no to me. It's not, it's not a no to my friends. It's not a no that I enjoy hockey. It's like I am removing myself from my life and my identity and not getting so wrapped up on what.
And the reality is, this was the second time I've been asked to do this. I said no last year. And if I had said no again, next year would come around and they wouldn't even ask. If they needed a person, nobody's going to ask three. You tell somebody no two. If you're lucky, you get 3 no's.
Yep.
You're lucky if somebody asks you 3 times to do something. But if you say no all 3 times, you won't get a 4th. You'd be lucky to get a 3rd, and I know that. And so that was kind of part of the reason. Like, man, if I say no again, then it'll be gone, and then I won't be, they'll stop asking because that's what happens. Like, nobody wants. Oh, he always says no, so we're moving on.
And I know, like, Josh, your kids are very far apart in age, and my kids were very spread out too, right? Like, my stepson is getting ready to turn 28. My youngest is 15. So I had I'm not even done yet, but I'm on the tail end of that season. And now looking back, and again, this only comes from time. I wouldn't have said this 10 years ago. I wouldn't even have said this 5 years ago. The amount of times where our kids are in this stage is very short when you look at it in the grand scheme of things, even if it's 15 years of shuttling them back and forth to games and practices. I don't know about you guys, but I plan to live well beyond
for sure.
those 15 years. And if I'm not, and again, this took a lot of mindset training to do this. If I'm not on the list, I may not end up on my list at all because I may become so wrapped up in the needs of others. I can still be there for my kids, and I'm a great mom, and I fully believe that. But I'm a great mom who also takes care of herself, and that is really, really important to me. And I know, like I said, you guys are more in the middle of this, but the time frame is so short, and that's why we don't want to miss it, right?
Yeah.
Because we don't want to feel like we missed out on important stuff.
And I want to be more like, I want to be a good dad today, but I also want to be a good dad 20 years from now.
Yeah.
And a good
still
grandpa.
Doing shit with the kids when they're in their 20s. I still want to be able to go do all the things they want to go do, and hopefully that means going for runs, going golfing, going hiking, all those things that I have to continue to do now. Otherwise, when the time comes, I'm like, I can't do that.
Yep.
And that would be the worst thing in the world, is if my kids ask me to do something and I have to say no, all because I didn't take care of myself.
Yeah.
That would be my biggest personal regret, is looking back and being like, having to say no. And it's because I said yes to everything else, and then now I have to start saying no because I didn't say yes to myself.
Yeah.
On kind of along that note, but on the flip side of that, something you taught me and Michelle probably 2 or 3 years ago is saying no to some things that are involved in the kids' sports when they get out of hand, or not even sports, but they could be any of the kids' activities. They just keep building and building, and then the coaches or who's ever in charge just keep asking more and more and more. And sometimes it's okay to say no. And he and I had a conversation, and I'm like, we're just going all the time. And he's like, if you're feeling that way, chances are some of the other families are saying, thinking the same thing. It's okay to speak up and say, no, we're not in this weekend. It's okay. We need a family weekend at home. And what do you know? It is true. It's okay to say no. It's okay to slow things down from time to time. Take that time for yourself.
And if you show the confidence to say no, then that gives other people permission to start saying no too. Like, yeah, you're right. Like, we don't want to do this thing either. And then now it becomes a universal decision. Like, let's scrap it.
Yeah. And if a group of the rest of the team wants to go do it without you, they will.
Yes, they'll find somebody else.
And it's okay.
Yeah.
And the reality of this is we know from experience that no matter what time of year it is, there's going to be a season where our kids are going to be busy. And what we see happening most often is, as soon as we get into the routine, we're in basketball season, so I've got this great routine. The season changes. Now we're getting ready to go into baseball season. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, you had this great routine in basketball. Baseball season or softball season pops up, or spring soccer or whatever it is, and you're like, great, when am I going to keep this thing that I wanted to do in my routine? I'll just get back to it. I'll figure it out, right? And so again, it all kind of comes down to having a plan, and it also comes down to having some accountability and support and how to pivot. How do we pivot out of this? How do we pivot out of this? How do I sit down and look at my schedule and say, hey, so it was great that I was doing that walk during basketball practice, but now I'm going to be at this place, or the nights have changed and I have these commitments. It's really nice having, again, support and a guide that can say, hey, let's look at your calendar, and then be like, okay, boom, 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 we just figured it out. Great. Stress is relieved. You're on your way. You don't have to worry about it, because guess what? It's going to happen in the summer. It's going to happen in the fall. It's going to happen when school starts. It's going to happen during Christmas break. On repeat forever.
Yeah. Year after year after year. So, and a final one is work.
Shit.
Work shit. Yeah, work shit.
Oh, sorry, I put that in there.
Yeah, that's okay. It's really, especially now that people work from home, work shit never stops.
Mm-hmm.
And finding that off switch can be really hard for people, especially when everything is always at home and they don't have you have to leave at 4:30 to catch the bus, so shut it down. And realizing, damn it, that work is going to be there tomorrow. If you're so lucky that somebody else did it, congratulations. But otherwise, it's going to be there tomorrow.
Yeah.
It is, and that's just the day and age we're in. Like, you shut it down, but the laptop might go in the bag, right? Or
and these things, they're always there.
These little guys, they're always with us, and then of course that plays into like, oh, I should be getting this done. I should have gotten that done. I'm behind on this, and not being just the stress that it causes from just like wondering like, I think I'm behind, but you don't really know if you're behind. You think you are. So then the story just kind of snowballs into the stress. And well, if I do this tonight and I skip my workout, I'll be ahead tomorrow morning. And guess what? Tomorrow it'll just that cycle will repeat. And now you've done nothing to relieve the stress that you're feeling from that train of thought. You're just living in a stress cycle.
Yeah, and there's rarely any careers I know where people get to show up and all their work is just done. And they don't have to actually do anything. Like, sweet, I'm caught up. Today, I get to do nothing. Like, there will always be
boring
more.
Too, wouldn't it?
But I mean, there's always going to be more. It's never going to end. And really, the hardest thing to grasp is that if I actually take time for myself to go work out, I'll be more efficient at work. Mm-hmm. If I'm healthier, if I eat better, I'm more efficient at work.
And my thoughts are clear.
I'm less stressed. So I work twice as fast because I took an hour break to go work out. And now my mind is clear. I can actually do work at a much higher rate versus grinding away. And then all of a sudden 30 minutes has passed and you haven't done a damn thing except for stare at the computer or maybe do two little things that if you were fresh, you would have done in 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. And now you just wasted 25 minutes grinding away at a 5-minute task because you're overloaded, you're stressed, and you haven't taken care of that. This is a really hard one to grasp until you feel it.
And I know we've talked about the math before. So like what we're asking from people is a 2 to 3 hour per week commitment, right? Mm-hmm. I can't think off the top of my head how many hours there are in a week. My math isn't very good on the spot like this. But
68?
Yeah, there you go. That sounds right.
But there's a lot of hours left in the week to do all the other things. Just 2 to 3 hours a week.
And investing the 3 hours is going to give you more time back because you're going to be better. Mm-hmm. There's nobody that can convince me otherwise.
Yeah, and chances are, like, whatever stress you're feeling is something you've, like, created internally. So let's say you went to, like, a coworker or let's say your boss or your supervisor and you're like, hey, I've decided that I'm going to do this, so I need to leave on time. Your boss might look at you and say, wow, that's great. I'm really glad you're doing that. Sounds like a really positive thing. Where you have maybe have created a story where you're like, oh, no, they don't want me to do that. They want me to work late. They want me to work overtime. They want me to take my work home. Do they? Do you really know that that's what they want? Because I would guess they actually do not.
Yeah.
And you being less stressed, more productive at work, and in maybe a better mood, and then that carries over to all areas of our lives. Doesn't that sound a lot better than just walking around completely stressed out all the time because you think you're always running behind? I mean, I know it's easy to get caught up in that because we live in this fast-paced. Everything's fast-paced now. Like, we want everything now. We want it very quickly. So this one is another hard one to deal with. But the people that we have literally watched transform and say, wow, I did not realize how much these 2 to 3 hours a week were going to play out in the rest of my life, whether that was at their job, whether that was at home, with them, with their spouse, with them as being parents, with their other family members or friends, right? Like, this is all about making life feel easier. So adding this piece in ultimately makes it better. Mm-hmm. But getting there, the convincing, sometimes it's, it takes some tries and it takes practice and it takes time. But I've never had one person walk up to me and say, I really regretted getting my shit in order.
I really shouldn't have worked out today.
I really shouldn't have worked out today, and I can't believe that I feel so much better that I was able to do all my yard work in 3 hours when it normally took me 2 days with breaks. Never, ever have heard anybody say that. But that's the kind of wins that we get to hear from people who take the time out of their week to make some changes and to put themselves on the list, make themselves a priority, and ultimately reduce stress, because it's inevitable. We've done shows about this before. We're all going to face stresses. We're all, again, this list is not conclusive, but these are the biggest things that we see people struggle with, and it can really, really throw them for a loop. And so we want to stop that.
Yep. So if you're struggling somewhere, see if you can be self-aware of one of these things happening, and what can you do to, how can you put yourself back in the priority seat? Would be the number one suggestion. If you need help with that, obviously, let us know.
Here we are.